Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ultimate Schmoedown Aftershow here on the Outlaw Nation YouTube channel, where we talk about the previous week in Schmoedown. 4 incredible matches to talk about today. Gang, this is going to be one for the books. First off, my name is John Barr. You know me. I am the host of this show. I, of course, can't do this show, though, without my 2 wonderful co-hosts, starting with first the gentleman on my right, Boggs. How are you doing today?
Oh, good, sir. Big week. And last night was a big pay-per-view. Can't wait to talk about it. And I believe it's Batman Day today. So shout out to all the
That is correct.
Batman fans out there.
Shout outs to all orphans who are afraid of bats and then become bats, because that's how you beat crime. Right. That's what I've gathered from those books.
Justice.
Justice. Meanwhile, we also have our wonderful third host of this show, Soul. How are you doing today, and what did you learn from Batman?
I learned that the first Batman movie is 20th Century Fox, so put it on Disney Plus, man.
Oh, there you go.
I saw that on Twitter earlier today.
Nice. Oh, man.
Lesson learned.
I might watch Batman Forever after this, have a real blast of a time. But what we're going to do first, gang, is have a blast of a time talking about the blast of a week that we've had, huh? 4 great matches to talk about, 2 fantastic guests that we're going to be having on as well to talk about those matches. But first off, I want to remind y'all that we love having you here, including the folks I see in the chat right now, like Nancy, like Logan, like Brennan, like Drunken Prayer, like Alan, like Gambling Soul. Everybody, what's up? How y'all doing today? We really appreciate you commenting along with the episode. Don't forget, if you are able to, we love any support that you can toss us over on the Patreon, patreon.com/JohnRoca. Streamlabs or Super Chats, if you're able to, those are always appreciated. But we also just love being able to see y'all comment, and that's why, to start off every episode, Soul reads out some of the comments that were left underneath the episode once it was no longer live. So, Soul, you're ready. What do the people have to say to us?
Well, before I go in, I just want to comment on Chris Taylor in the chat going, imagine if Bruce was afraid of squirrels and became Squirrel Man.
That'd be great. Is that what the Undateable Squirrel Girl is like? Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. I think both. What? I don't know.
But speaking of Chris Taylor, he commented last week, always cool to see Harper on the show. We love having the champ on the show.
That's right. The current reigning Star Wars champion is very kind to check out our show. And make sure you check out that episode if you haven't. It was a blast.
And we have Jeremy Miller going, fun show with the Major Thomas Harper. Can't wait to watch his spectacular match. That's going to be awesome. Whoever he ends up playing, I'm so excited.
He also mentioned in that episode that he was going to hang the belt on like his Stormtrooper cosplay kind of mannequin, and he posted that up on Twitter. So check that out if you haven't. It's very cute.
And those are the comments from last week.
Excellent. Well, thank you all so much for those comments. Let's get right into it. First off, just for the record, we are going to be talking about the pay-per-view last, so you got a little bit of time to watch it, but just understand we're going to be talking about it and what happens in it. So if you haven't watched it and want to watch it to see how things happen in it instead of just hearing us talking about it, you hurry over right now. Make sure you got those tickets loaded up and watch it, and then come on back to us as we welcome in our first incredible guest. He has joined us, I believe, once before to talk about a previous match. We are so excited to have him on, returning once again to talk about his match in this singles tournament season. Everybody, please make some noise for arguably one of, if not the crown jewel of the Finstock Exchange, certainly one of the most seasoned competitors over there, and one of the 3 that is continuing forward into round 2 of this tournament. Everyone, please make some noise for the Barbarian.
What is up? What is up?
How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you. This is a great week in the Schmoedown. Also, I do want to give a quick shout out in the chat. Logan Burton and director Alan Smithy met both of those guys at the last Cantina taping. Where that last night's pay-per-view took place. So they're a very nice gentlemen. I want to say hello to them. And looking forward to the next taping at the Cantina on the 25th, where the Finstock Exchange's own Rager Rick Raddick will be competing against that loudmouth Frankie Alvarez. So if you have not gotten your tickets, the Rager was made for live events. That's all I have to say.
That makes sense to me. I mean, certainly thinking about it, since
was The Godfather, where Ty, it was a nail biter of a match. It was I think it was the first one that we taped where I did a walkout, or no, it was the second one we taped because we taped Khan's match earlier that day. So as we've seen, Khan, unfortunately, though he had a very strong effort, ended up just getting a couple questions outside of his wheelhouse in round 3 and lost the match. So when it came to Ty's match, that was a barn burner. And so with us having already had one player eliminated earlier that day, it was just kind of like on the edge of my seat for that whole match, hoping that Ty would pull it out. And when he did, I don't think they ended up putting it in the cut, but I stood up and was just cheering, and just it was a glorious moment. And it was also just great to see, Ty is someone who, I recruited for the league because I know he is a champion caliber trivia player that has expert level, character work in him. And I think he is the type of player that just fits great in the Schmoedown. So at any rate, I was so excited to see him get to prove that with, I think that's his, biggest win thus far. And, looking forward to seeing him avenge my other singles loss to William Bibbiani in this round 2.
There you go. That's certainly a nice, hopeful thing to shoot for, and I think it's certainly within the realm of possibility. Talking about you as far as what you've had, it's interesting because obviously your debut season was last year, and last year was the year that we were all ravaged by the COVID epidemic. But in a weird way, I almost feel like this season has been more chaotic for you in that we have not gotten to see nearly enough of you for starters, but we've kind of seen you in multiple different avenues and lanes in only 3 matches. Obviously, your match against Alex Damon, your match against Drew McWeeny, and your match against Alonso Duralde. What has it been like to try and kind of jump between leagues, it seems like, with a weird amount of awkward time in between each match?
It's really been, it hasn't felt that awkward for me. And, while I wish I would have had more matches earlier in the season, the lack of action between the Damon match and the McWeeny match, and then the break between the McWeeny match and the Alonso match just gave me more time to prep. And I've always thought of myself as the more time I have between matches, the more time I have to study, the better I'll do. So it's something that I know is going to help me as this tournament continues. And the early part of the season was very much focused on getting the faction up and running, and getting study docs ready for the whole faction, and yada yada. And we're at the point of the season where all that prep work we did early on, all that infrastructure we built is just up and running, and it's I don't have to do much to maintain that, so I can just focus on myself and focus on going after that singles title.
Absolutely, and certainly we're seeing that hard work pay off for the faction as a whole. Obviously, it was great to see Taylor Robinson come in, do a little bit of managing for you as well. Like I mentioned, the Finstock Exchange is one of the few factions that has 3 of their 4 competitors moving forward into round 2, which is no small feat. And y'all are also in the top 4 of the faction standings as it is at this current point in time. So, absolutely commendable work y'all are doing over there on the Exchange.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Even though our good friend, the Moose, did get knocked out in the second round of the IG tournament, he did have one heck of a first-round match, TKOing Chance Ellison, last year's tournament winner. And so, thus far, through 2 tournaments, we've had at least somebody, advance past the first round of the tournament in both tournaments. I'm hoping that we can have that for all 4 tournaments. And while, hopefully we'll win the other 3 tournaments now that, Moose, Moose didn't have the best game against Saul, but, what can you do?
Yeah, especially since obviously King Khan is going to hypothetically be able to avenge his round 1 loss in the singles tournament as a part of this new King Arthur team, which I'm very excited for in the teams tournament.
I am excited to see what they can do as well. Those were two people that when we interviewed them prior to the draft, we thought both of them had what it took to be champions. And the fact that they, I know King Khan, I think, has mentioned this, and early on, I think our first full team study session, we did a team free for all. I won't say much about that other than during the team free for all, afterwards, Griffin Newman was like, "Can I have Khan to be my teammate for teams division?" Okay, so Griffin requested Khan, and you get a player like Griffin Nooms, you know what he need, you let him tell you what he needs to be successful, and so they've coalesced very well. They've been working as a team the entire season, and they're gonna be like a veteran team going into that teams tournament.
I can believe it, and I'm excited for it. But let's make sure we also spend some time talking about this singles tournament and your incredible performance in it. And for that, Boggs, I'll bounce it on over to you first if you have any questions for our dear guest, the Barbarian, but then also to get your incredible insights into the match itself.
Let's do it. So first of all, everyone watching, get in your Streamlabs and Super Chats for the Barbarian, of course. We are going to bring patrons in towards the end of his segment. But, in the meantime, obviously get your questions in. Obviously, going into this match, Barbarian against Duralde, I want to know your thoughts on him as opponent. Did you fancy yourself against him? And also, what's inspired the look today? There's something about the, you're looking a bit funky today.
Hey, you like my glasses? These
No,
I feel like these are like Bret Hart glasses. So I figured in honor of myself spinning wrestlers in film, I'd come in as a wrestler. There we go. But
good. Got the hair.
It's my wrestling look. So coming in, I mean, I came in. I feel like Adam Collins did something at the end of his match, and I feel like it echoed kind of my sentiment coming to my match also, which was I needed this. It was just like, both he and I hadn't won a singles match the entire season, and if I'd lost this match, it was gonna mean my season. And sure, I was favored, but Alonso Duralde is no slouch. And he's, I feel like this was very similar to my matchup against Drew McWeeny. They're very similar players. And people, I feel like I should have beaten McWeeny. Like, and I don't mean that in terms of like, I don't mean that in terms of like, the outcome should have been changed. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, coming into that match, I feel like it was my match to lose, in my estimation. And I felt the same way about this match. It's a very strong opponent, but someone that I felt very capable of beating because of the preparation and work I do to for myself in the Schmoedown. But I also knew from firsthand experience this entire season that just because on paper I should beat someone doesn't mean I will. I've had that happen twice now in matches that I felt confident going into the match, and then I ended up losing it because of how the match played out. And I knew that could happen a third time. So I was extremely nervous going into this match, but also extremely prepared.
Yeah, and it showed because, you did start off really strong, obviously getting 7 points, just missing the one with the, obviously, John Wayne question. But obviously, Duralde missing 2 on the bounce as well. You pulled that great pull, the Bill Paxton one I thought was really strong as well. Yeah, but so any thoughts on the first round and any questions for the Barbarian so far?
It's one of those where you're looking at these two competitors who, are so good at the game. And I was rooting for both. And the fact that you come out when you missed that one question with the 70s John Wayne, I was like, oh no, I wanted Barbarian to get a perfect round because I know how hard you work behind the scenes. So what was your thought process there when you missed that one?
I mean, in the Schmoedown, you have to have an extremely large memory and extremely short memory. So I was disappointed that my guess, it was clearly a guess. I was, it's funny because we in our faction, we were joking the other day about movie release decades would be a great category. I was like, yeah, but I got a movie release decades question and still missed it by 2 decades. So it's it stung to miss that, but at the same time, I had to just brush it off. I knew that as long as I hit my next one, I'd have a lead going into round 2. That's exactly where I wanted to be. So, shake it off and just keep going.
Yeah, at least you put 1950s in case there was any controversy. So, yeah. And obviously, before we get into round 2, because someone tell me where the hell is Gucci? Griffey Noom's got a live event soon. Is he going to be in New York? He's a mysterious guy. Can you give any light on that? Shed any light on that, Barbarian?
I mean, Gucci is a man of mystery. That's all I can say. He's a very important, very busy person. He's an international man of mystery, much like Austin Powers. But it's the good thing though about the exchange is that even when Gucci is not able to make an appearance, we have a faction full of people that have been just like steeped in the game all year. And Taylor Robinson, even though this is her, even though this is only really her second season playing, she's been really, deeply involved in the Schmoedown community for years and years and knows the game better than, anyone else out there. So going in with her in my corner as my manager, it gave me a sense of calm that I had someone that would be able to, she knew the rule book inside and out. She knew, anything that she could challenge, she would challenge, and she knew how important it was for me to win that match. And I knew having her in my corner that she wasn't going to, let there be any asterisks on the outcome of that match.
And just on the back of that as well, so you guys have covered each other, whether it's house managing or whether it's Lieberman managing. What was obviously you did just mention some of it there, but was any particular reason why it was Robinson, or was it just circumstances, or was it something her particular skill set that you acquired for this match? Or
it's always about availability. I mean, we shot this match during the week, and so a lot of people were working. Taylor is on the opposite side of the world, so her schedule is a little bit different than the rest of ours. So she was available to come in and without any problem, in a moment's notice, she said of course. And so that I think the timing of it all was one factor, but I think in general I'd feel comfortable with any other player on our faction managing. We're all ready to step in at a moment's notice. So that's how we work over there.
Nice. And then going into round 2, obviously you did land on Wrestlers in Film. You stuck on it. You got your 2 point at the first question. Second question, missed. And then the next 2 you do go multiple choice, and then you get your 1 points. But then obviously Duralde spins crime movies.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. Yeah, I think he spins off crime. Lands on Tom Hanks. You get the 2 point steal back, so you get the 2 points back there that you missed, and then he kind of goes perfect the rest of the round and goes multiple choice on the last question. But Barbarian, overall thoughts on that round, or yeah, how do you think it went? Because you still finished 13-11 up.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it was look, I felt confident going into the round about Wrestlers in Film because I know a lot about Wrestlers in Film, but I feel like I didn't, because I was comfortable with the category, didn't do as thorough of a prepping on that category as I have in other categories, and as such there were I have not seen Ready to Rumble. clearly. So when that question was asked, I could have went multiple choice, but I knew that Alonso Duralde isn't familiar with wrestlers. And I knew the wrestlers that were in the movie. I just didn't know which one beat Jimmy the King. So I said, I'm not going to go multiple choice and give him a chance to get a steal. I'll just say the biggest wrestler I know in the film, which was Sting. And it was wrong. So there you go. And then the other two questions, the Captain Insano question, with which Adam Sandler film was the Big Show in. I felt, yes, I do need to watch these several times. Lots of plot-based questions. So the Adam Sandler question was one that I had deduced that it was the Water Boy, but I had had the order of those questions been flipped, I would have said Waterboy for 2 points. But because I just missed a question, and because even without multiple choice, what name a 90s Adam Sandler film is essentially a multiple choice question. So I knew that there was a chance he could steal it, regardless, and I didn't want to, dig a deep hole for myself there. So that's why I went multiple choice there, just in case there had been a different Adam Sandler film that had slipped out of my brain that I wasn't sure on in the moment. Yeah, that one. And then, the deepest question was, of course, that fourth question about, the finishing move of Randy the Ram and the Wrestler. And I've seen that film and I love that film, but it's, been a while. I remember that the first half of the name was the Ram something. I couldn't remember. I couldn't pull in the moment what the second half of it was called. And then when I went multiple choice, I was like, yeah, it's the Ram Jam. So, it's not, it's the worst round two that I've had for my own self in terms of my half of the wheel, but getting that 2-point steal was first, any momentum he could have had after I, had a little bit of a struggle with mine, I immediately took back with that 2-point steal. So, and at the end of the day, even though I had a, comparatively poor round two, I still actually ended up gaining ground on him. I was only up 1 point coming out of round one. I was up 2 points coming out of round two. So I did gain ground on that. But it's, something that I'm going to need to improve on, as the tournament progresses.
And just on that steal as well, did you know it immediately he got it wrong, or did he kind of prompt you from his answer that he gave?
I'm very familiar with that film. If you watch the match before they didn't say I'm wrong, I started shaking my head no. So it was like I waited the 1 second. I was like, no, this isn't. Yeah. This is not the answer. Come on, guys.
But obviously he ate that up and stole it, leading the round 13-11. And then going into the final round, obviously, he had to hit a few of his questions. He got the Forrest Gump question wrong. That was a bit of a shock. He did get his 3-pointer Jordan Peele question. You got your 2-point question, the Beatles one, and he missed his 5, the due date question. But John, I'm going to throw it to you. Any overall thoughts on Duralde so far, and of course the Barbarian so far in the match? Any questions as well?
Yeah, as far as the match itself goes, I'll tell you right now, I've seen Due Date 1.5 times, right. And I certainly would not have been able to recall that very interesting sounding dream sequence. I don't know exactly how Zach Galifianakis fit into that, but I'll have to rewatch it that second half again, I guess. But yeah, obviously, even when you land on categories that you feel comfortable in, you simply can't know every single thing on any given day. Sometimes it's just about what falls into your wheelhouse, what falls into your blind spots. We all have them. And I think that's kind of what we saw from both these competitors. They both clearly know their movies. It's just they happen to both get some questions that fell into certain blind spots, whether it be something like the 70s John Wayne question or the misnaming of a hologram for a king. Because I think he said the king's hologram.
Yeah, he said the king's hologram, and it's a hologram for the king. Yeah.
It almost as if it was the friggin' Colin Firth movie, which is a whole other thing. Colin Firth? Yeah. I was like, did I name the right Colin?
Colin Firth, yeah.
I'd love to see Colin Farrell try and be the King's Speech, but that'll be for another day. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think Barbarian, this was just a testament to how you kept your head in the game, being able to capitalize right off of that steal immediately, not getting discouraged by the lack of another Finstock TKO opportunity, just sticking with it all the way through. And then, yeah, I mean, obviously, like, kind of being able to get that win again on your record, because like you were saying, you have been going so far with no wins this season. Do you feel like this was like a nice way to kind of like re-anchor yourself essentially in a way to kind of like re-cement why you're here?
I mean, I've always been cemented into why I'm here, but this takes off some pressure of, look, there are a lot of talented players in the Schmoedown, and there have been multiple very talented players that went winless this year, and I didn't want to be one of them. I knew it was a possibility, and it's just, there's, not to call anyone out, but like people that I have a ton of respect for, both their, gameplay and ability and their knowledge, and they've, just gotten poor luck this year. And I, did everything in my power to make sure that that wasn't me. So now that I have that under my belt, that one win under my belt, I feel very confident moving forward, because I know that all the work that I've done to date is still there, and that I just have more and more time to do more and more work to make myself even stronger as the tournament progresses.
Absolutely. And looking forward a little bit into the future, your next round in the tournament is going to be up against Paul Oyama, who is somebody that's been having a pretty good season. A couple wins, a couple losses. He's very much been kind of like, again, depends on the day. There are certain times where he'll look on fire. There are certain days where he loses to Ethan Erwin in 3 different divisions. So what are your thoughts kind of going into this Oyama match?
I mean, so I feel like in general, the Oyama match is going to be a lot less stressful for me because I have a win under my belt, but B, I know that I'm the player. I know that I am a player that is capable of beating anyone in this league, and I think that a win against Paul Oyama would be the type of win that would make people really take notice. While at the same time, if I were to lose to Paul Oyama, there'd be no shame in it because he is one of the best players in the game. So I honestly consider it, going, dropping the kayfabe altogether. I consider it an honor to get to play someone of Paul's caliber this early in my career and having the opportunity to show how I can measure up head to head against someone of his strength.
Absolutely. Well spoken, truly. So I'll bounce it on over to you. If you have any questions for the Barbarian about his match, but I also know we have a couple Discord questions as well if you want to dig into those.
Well, my first question is I always love to know whether the competitors know the other person's 5-pointer. So did you know the due date 5-pointer that he got?
Yes. It's, I mean, it's, it's a movie that I've seen. It's a movie that I enjoy. And, it's, as soon as they asked the question, I knew the answer. So it's, just, it's not a movie that everyone's seen. So it clearly wasn't, on the tip of. So I was worried at first when they asked it, because in my mind I was like, okay, I'm going to have to, because if he'd have gotten that right, I would have had to answer my 3 and my 5. Well, technically the 3 wouldn't have mattered. So I would just need to answer my 5. And so there I was getting ready to have to answer a 5 again. And then when he used his first repeat, I realized, he doesn't know it. So I was, relieved and hoping. And when he said fur, I was just, I was grateful to just get the win and get out of there.
I'm sure with most competitors, if you don't have to answer a 5-pointer, you're a happy person.
Yeah, exactly. It's, I mean, it's funny because I feel like when I'm watching matches, I know a good percentage of the 5-pointers, but it's always like, okay, so is it that I'm going to be comfortable when I get my 5-pointer, or is it going to be that the larger percentage of 5-pointers that I do know are in the other matches, and the small percentage of 5-pointers that I don't know happen to fall into my match, which happened in my last match. So hopefully that's not the case the next time I have to answer a 5-pointer. But I did know his this time, thankfully.
Going on to
I was just going to say a quick question, because obviously you mentioned Ayama there, and King Arthur also playing Ayama in final exam, so he must be the topic of conversation in in your guys' training camps and study sessions. So it seems like the Finstock Exchange are trying to end this season.
I mean, I feel like whoever does the Schmoedown scheduling is trying to end Oyama's season by putting him up against the Exchange twice. But he's got the cash in, so even after King Arthur beats final exam and I beat him in singles, he'll still have a chance to continue his season. But we'll see. But look, there's we've been able to share notes and whatnot on what we have noticed about his gameplay, and it's actually pretty convenient because Khan and I spent a lot of time studying together, and so we've been prepping a lot of the same topics in preparation for it. So
interesting. Mm-hmm. Sorry, so
going into these Patreon questions, we have from Drunken Prayer. He goes, Elvis runs away from home. What movie character would you hire to rescue him?
You said Lomas runs away from home? Well, you said Elvis runs away from home.
Elvis.
Well, I think you said Lomas. Like Lomas runs away from home. Well, first off,
oh my God,
whoever Lomas is home.
He's abandoned his faith.
That's a great question. I think I would go with Benoit Blanc from Knives Out. I feel like some people would think I'd go for Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, but Elvis is not a pet; he's my companion. But I feel like Benoit Blanc is the kind of detective who sees the bigger picture, who would be able to figure out the mystery.
Also, bring you donuts.
Exactly, the hole inside the donut hole.
Yeah. He could even bring beignets with that accent that he's putting on.
That's true. I do love a good beignet. If you've not been to Cafe Du Monde. Yeah.
And then we have from Jeremy Miller, another Elvis question. What is Elvis's favorite movie?
That is a good question. It's actually Daybreakers, because they have a character named after him there.
That tracks.
And I think people are loving Elvis here because we have from Gift Taylor, who's the Riggs and who's the Murtaugh between you and Elvis?
I feel like neither of us are getting too old for this shit, so I'd say we're both which is which? God damn it.
That's a great question. I think
Riggs Riggs is Mel Gibson, right? Or is he Murtaugh? Fucking Christ. Oh my God.
I think Mel Gibson
Murtaugh is. Yeah.
Either way, we're both Mel Gibson, except without the racism or the poor language against the anti-Semitism and the misogyny.
You were whoever played Mel Gibson's character in the CBS Lethal Weapon series.
No, it was a Fox Lethal Weapon series, and that guy also got in trouble. So,
oh no, really?
He's pissed.
Yeah, he got replaced. He got replaced after the first season.
Oh God!
With Sean William Scott. So we're both Sean William Scott.
That's not bad. Oh, wrong. Riggs is Mel Gibson. There we go.
Riggs. I thought it was Riggs, but it was just I clearly need to do a deep dive back into my Lethal Weapon films.
And now you're gonna get a Lethal Weapon question in your next match.
Maybe.
But John, do we have any patrons to come in?
We do, but we also have a Streamlab here. A Streamlab from Nancy. Thank you so much, Nancy. This is, of course, for the Barbarian. Cool shades, bro. Thoughts on people saying Alonso should have challenged the hologram question answer? I'm assuming specifically under the clause of the benefit of the doubt rule.
Yeah, I feel like if they would have accepted that as an answer, it would have officially broken the game. Because it was like, it's a 5-word title, and those were 3 words of the title in the opposite order. And if they had used the argument of, well, he clearly knew which movie it was, well, then we could go back to season 1 when they were accepting, oh, it was that guy from that show. They're like, we'll accept it. It's like, are we like, that's not the game, And I feel like, I know that this offseason there's going to be some review of the rules. There's going to be a new rules summit, and they're going to strengthen them. This was our first year with a rule book, and they're going to be, making things more black and white and clear cut so that there is less room for interpretation of the rules. And something like the benefit of the doubt rule, I think they're going to, at least I hope that they, put in place some verbiage that will make the common sense rulings that we would hope would be in place that much more common.
Yeah, I think that's more than fair. And thank you again so much to Nancy for sending in that stream. I'll have to get some wonderful insights into the benefit of the doubt. Definitely needs to be cleaned up, especially on movie titles. Fair enough, Ambling Soul.
Yeah, because in my opinion, if we want to talk about the benefit of the doubt and how, because people are talking about Raya and the Last Dragon. And the thing is, anyone who's seen Raya and the Last Dragon is up in arms about the Raya the Last Dragon being accepted, because Raya is not the Last Dragon. So calling the movie Raya the Last Dragon is completely false. Raya is a completely different person. But the argument of, but she knew which movie it was. It's like, they accepted that argument. And so, whereas, by the interpretation of the rules that worked. So I would hope that in the future it's clarified that things like that, at least for myself, I don't think that should have been accepted. But, I think based on the current rule book, that I can understand how the judges would have accepted that based on the rules. So I'm just hopeful that the changes to the rule book in the upcoming season will make it so that, it's more cut and dry on what is and isn't acceptable.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the verbiage I've seen recently on Twitter is like referring to things like this as a living and breathing document, where it's like, sometimes things change. There's always room for nuance because we're all humans. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what they cook up in the off season to clean things up.
Yeah, MLB and NFL do this all the time. They introduce new rules. I say, oh crap, that rule really didn't work out. As someone who spent a long time as a Lions fan, I'm kind of trying to switch my. I'm kind of going through a messy divorce with the Lions, and I'm in a new relationship with the Rams. If anyone's seen my recent posts, I have season tickets to the Rams. Great first
nice.
Week 1 win. I'm not trying to brag. It's just you'll be seeing a lot more pictures of me at the Rams just because I'm going to go to 7 of the 8 games this season. Very excited. At any rate, point is, someone who spent a lot of time rooting for the Lions, I've seen how the NFL will put rules in, see how they screw over the Lions, and then change the rule. So I feel like I'm in some ways the Lions of the Schmoedown, but also not. I joke when I say that, but it's there are cases where the rules may we put in a rule, we see how it plays out, and then we decide, okay, maybe that rule needs to be changed.
Absolutely. I'm very excited to see how the new rulebook handles tackles in the next Schmoedown season. But we do, in fact, have a patron, I believe, here to ask a question live to our wonderful
I think we have another Streamlabs as well.
We do, but I was going to save that one just because it's specifically, this was a Streamlabs sent in by Drunken Prayer. It's really just a dunk on Boggs. It's just saying here, Boggs is going down in the Battle of England. #Drunken Masters. Boggs, I assume that means you are having a Outlaw Nation Patreon trivia match, which you can all watch by the Patreon. And I think Drunken Prayer thinks you're going to lose bad.
Yeah, we've got a Battle of Britain's match tonight, so thanks for that. I'm not actually playing against him; he's just joining in on the bandwagon.
He's not even a part of it.
He's not.
Dunking on it.
He's just there to watch. Yeah, he's just.
He's not saying he's going to win. He's just saying that you're going to lose.
That's it.
Which is a little unfair because he's actually on the desk. So I might need to get someone else to be on the desk.
Oh my God.
Yeah, what am I signed up for?
To take us away from this drunken prayer drama, we're going to bring in our first wonderful patron who is Drunken Prayer. Oh my God, it's Drunken Prayer.
Hey,
damn it.
Wow.
How you doing, buddy? How you doing, buddy? My ball brother.
Bold,
Hello, brother, how you doing? Yeah, Boggs, this isn't about you.
Hi, Craig.
I'm
Sorry.
getting ready for it.
Sorry, I was still busy laughing at that there.
Fair enough.
I did genuinely have a question, though. But you've kind of answered it with the Polo Yama thing. But I was going to say, like, who's your great white whale in the league? Like, the one person you really want to play and take down?
Oh, 100% Ethan Erwin. Ethan Erwin is, he and I have been friends since 2004. So he is someone whose knowledge I've respected. He's, how I learned about the league and how I got involved in the league. And, I, went into this league saying that Ethan and I will either be teammates or have a strong rivalry. And thus far, we haven't been teammates. So I really want to have the chance to take him out. I was hoping that he would be the champion come Spectacular so I could win the tournament and play him at Spectacular. But, I'll take on Corruption, whether it's Marisol or Chance instead. But so short term, whoever has the belt. Long term, Ethan Erwin.
Fair enough. And I've still not seen Sherlock Homo on YouTube, but I'll look it up.
Oh. Yeah, there were.
What about that? Yeah.
My accent in that is not nearly as cool as your guys' accents, but I did my best. I did my best to try to give a British accent. We did 3 episodes of those. That was a video series that the Tyrant wrote and directed, and I star is Watson. And then we have our Sherlock is the great Jesus Christ. I'm gonna say his name wrong now. I'll say his name later. At any rate, I don't want to get.
I'll look up. We'll fix it in post. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, exactly. Sorry, anything that isn't movie trivia has been just like pushed out of my head. I apologize. I feel really embarrassed because we've been friends for like 20 years. But
but let me ask you, Barbarian, about obviously we are going to talk about it in the show later. But Erwin against
Andrew Lorich is his name. Sorry, Jesus Christ, sorry, Andrew Lorich. I don't know why.
You'd have got that on a repeat.
My brain farted. I apologize, Andrew.
That's the punishment of remembering due date, and specifically the bear scene.
Oh, by the way, don't feel bad about that Ready to Rumble question, or what? No, Ready to Rumble? What was it?
Ready to Rumble.
Well, that's a great illustration of not why to feel bad about it, because he can't even remember the name of the movie.
Nobody remembers that movie. It's a piece of crap. So
yeah. I tried watching it once many years ago and did not finish it. So
I thought it was Rumble in the Jungle they were talking about. In fairness, so
yeah.
There we go. Well, thank you
also,
so much.
Glasses. Enjoy the Oasis.
Thank you.
I understood that reference.
Oh, I got that reference. Yeah, I understood that reference.
Oh goodness, Ready Player One. Well, as we bid adieu to our dear friend Drunken Prayer, who is no doubt going to be coming up with even more ways to insult Boggs, we have here someone that you were just mentioning, Barbarian, that you were able to meet, which is lovely. Folks should all buy tickets to, of course, the Scum and Villainy Cantina. But our second patron here is the director, Alan Smithy. There you go.
I mainly just came on to tell the Barbarian how amazing his shades are and how I'm jealous now, and he's totally beaten me. I just copied, the standard Tom Dagnino shades, so it's not that exciting. But you are rocking it, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I look at Gucci for inspiration.
Right.
Then I go off and do my own thing with it,
I actually didn't realize how much I was accidentally copying Gucci until we were on screen together, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm kind of ripping that anyway. But
there's no man's style that is better to copy than Tom Dagnino's.
That's right. Well, hey, congratulations on your latest match, man, and it was awesome to meet you and Ty at the Cantina. I actually went out afterwards with Ty for a little drinky winky, so that was kind of fun.
Woo! Hey, said you guys went. You went and saw Bateman's show.
Well, we don't say that name around this.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Oops.
Part, No, but we did do that.
Get no chronic on the phone.
Yeah, exactly. So that was cool. But hey, I guess the one question I have, and forgive me if you've answered this before and I've missed it, but where does the Barbarian come from? What was the source of becoming the Barbarian?
I mean, so the source of becoming the Barbarian. So the name the Barbarian, the gimmick of the Barbarian came from the day that I went to first time I went to the Schmoedown to check it out. Christian's someone I've known for many years, and he at one point just kind of was soliciting. He very well may, Ambling Soul. So he and I had discussed me joining the league, and I came into the studio to check it out. And when I did, the very first thing he said when he saw me, by the way, the last time I'd seen him in person was about 10 years prior, and I had short hair. I walk into the studio that day with my long flowing hair. And the very first thing he says when he sees me, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to call you the Barbarian." I was like, "All right, there we go." And so then he kind of told me a couple, he gave me, I won't say specific names, but he gave me a couple wrestlers that he wanted me to draw inspiration from. And so I kind of ran with that, and just kind of made it my own thing.
Awesome. Well, hey, no matter who invented it, you are the Barbarian, and you've owned it completely. And so I respect that. Respect. But anyway,
thank you. Appreciate that.
Cool T-shirt, Smithy.
Hey, thank you. This is an interesting one because it says that, but it also says that down there.
Oh, sure.
Oh, hey-oh.
Yeah, it's a double whammy, but they're on the bottom, so it's cool. But anyway.
There you go.
They don't count.
Well,
and I've come to learn to respect corruption and not rip on them constantly, just sometimes. But anyway. All right, well, anyway, thanks. Good to see you again. And John, Boggs, Soul, rock and roll. See you later.
Likewise. See you later, Alan Smithy. Well, shoot, that was a wonderful little time. Barbarian, we want to thank you so much for coming on to talk about your match. Anytime, any place, we are more than happy to have you on. But I wanted to toss it on over to you if there are any final words that you have for the Schmoedown world at large that you'd like to get out. And then also any plugs, any things that you want our wonderful viewers to check out from you in the meantime.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. First off, thank you so much for having me on the show. I appreciate you guys reaching out. It's always a pleasure to speak with you guys and to come here and support your show and the Outlaw Nation. And in general, main thing I've got coming up is my second round match versus Paul Oyama. The release date is TBD, but it's going to be during the second round of this tournament, and I'm going to bring the fire. So I'm playing this tournament with the goal to win it all and win that belt at Spectacular. So that is what you can expect from me. You can find me on social media on Twitter at Barbarian Craig. And then you can also find me on Instagram at C as in Craig, F as in Frank, then Gaynier. It's Gagnère, as in the French word to win, because all I do is win. And yeah, you'll find me posting pictures. Most recent things I've posted there were pictures from a recent trek up to the Bottle Rock Music, Food, and Wine Festival in Napa, which was a tremendous, enjoyable trip.
Nice. Hell yeah. That sounds lovely. And that's what you can expect from the Barbarian. You get correct movie trivia questions, some lovely pictures in Napa Valley, and some French. How about that? I can throw Duolingo into the garbage.
I wanted to ask a quick question before you go, Barbarian. Obviously, like you said, Ethan kind of more or less brought you into the league. Or referred you kind of thing, and obviously you did play that title match. Just obviously we are going to get into the match later, but overall thoughts, anything you want to say about that match, or how it went down?
I mean, that was so I was in studio for that match, and it was the crowd was electric. That match was it was I think it's significant in that we had. It's funny because it was significant in that we had two of the best players in the league going up against each other, who both happen to be people of diversity. And it's like their diversity isn't what is really the most important thing about them in this match. It's what they do and bring to the table. Marisol was someone that us in the exchange, we were very, very high on in the off season. We tried our best to try to recruit her to join us, since she wasn't one of the 3 kept players for Corruption. We were, a little upset when the Den made that sign and trade to get her back to Corruption, because we thought she had this in her, and she did, and she has shown us all. And the one thing that I love to point out, now I went through that match cheering for Ethan because he's my dear friend, but I also, have a great deal of, appreciation and respect for Marisol. And when she won, the one thing that I really enjoyed about that win is that a lot of times the thing that hurts the most for Schmoedown players when they lose is that when they lose with the feeling of, my opponent got an easier question than I did, right? In this match, Marisol won largely based on 2 questions that they were both asked. Ethan got it wrong and she got it right. That Ninja Turtles pizza question and that David Lynch question. And that makes it just such a definitive statement win. And I would love to just congratulate her on such an amazing performance.
Absolutely.
Well said.
And we'll be sure to give her congratulations later on. But first up, we have to wrap this up by saying, Barbarian, thank you so much for your time. You're a very gracious gentleman, and we really appreciate you stopping by. And we hope you have a lovely, restful rest of your Saturday, man. Have a good one.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Take care.
Thank you, man.
Of course.
Thank you.
Likewise.
By guys, I meant that as the gender neutral guys. So
I know.
Yes,
3 of you. Also thank you to everyone in the chat. I appreciate there's a lot of activity in the chat. I've had the sunglasses on, so it's been hard to read. But yeah. All right. Thanks.
Hey, Yama, watch out.
Thank you. And yeah, so Yama, watch out. Now, before we get into our next match, first and foremost, I'm going to have to run to the restroom, but I'm going to leave you guys on this. I know, it's crazy. John, tiniest bladder in the West. One thing that I've been
tiniest. Something. Sorry,
tiniest in the West. And don't you dare add any other words. Gang, I wanted to ask you all a little bit about what we're looking at as far as the singles tournament, particularly when it comes to faction lineups and how things might change. Because looking at right now what we've got is we've got 3 factions with 3 players confirmed, that being the Dungeon, the Finstock Exchange, and the Quirky Mercs, all of whom are in that top 4 at the moment. And Corruption, who's also in that top 4, might also have 3 players in there if Kalinowski beats Paul Walter Hauser. If not, they'll only have 2. Likewise, Swag has 2. Maria, how you doing? Swag has 2 players in their final exam. The usual suspects have 1 in Page for Betty, maybe 2 if Paul Walter Hauser wins. And then the Stars still have 1 player in the fantastic Janine the Machine. So I wanted to pose this to you 2 and make you fight while I go do something different. Do you think that this tournament is going to be the thing that clinches the faction race for one faction or another, just based on who's in it and how many from different factions are there? Or do you think that we're just going to see a lot of just continuous, just 1 or 2 points over each other, just repeatedly as each faction gets a win over the other? Who do you think is going to be coming out on top of this specific singles tournament race? All right, bye.
That was the longest question ever. So I was saying that he needs the bathroom. But yeah, I guess
he held his bladder that long for that question.
I wanted to interrupt him so many times there, but yeah, I don't know. It's I'm going to say Corruption because they have the singles belt. Obviously, Mike's the IG champ. Chance and Marisol. So them 7 points or whatever are staying there with Chance and with Corruption, and then obviously Mike with the IG title, and they're in the teams tournament. So I'm going to say Corruption have the most available points potentially. So, but having said that, other people are playing in tournaments, so they can get more kind of 2 and 3 points. So it's a bit of a tough one. What about you?
He said we were going to argue, but I'm actually in agreement with you on this. With corruption, we saw last year Adams Collins ran through that tournament, and that's one of the big reasons why they won last year, is between that and then also having Mike and Chance run through the IG tournament. So if we see one person really run through this tournament here and possibly someone from the same faction run through the teams tournament, we could see some changing of the top four. But right now, corruption has the best chance.
I agree. But we do have our second guest backstage waiting, so let's just get her on. So let's not leave the lady waiting. It's rude, right? So let's bring her on. She just played this week. She is PG Peggy Gubbins. Come on down.
Hi guys.
Hey.
I feel like I need to scoot up so you can actually see me above this side.
Or someone just move her about and we can get you a better angle. But yeah, how are you? Obviously, had a big match this week. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it was not the outcome that I was hoping for, but it is what it is. Adam is an incredible trivia mind, and so I knew it would have to have been a Slumdog Millionaire-esque type of set of questions that came my way in order to knock him out, and that didn't happen. That's okay though, but I wish him the best.
Yeah, a long season for you, from the draft and then where you've come to kind of now, but yeah, you've had a long journey and I guess it's been fun, but yeah, we're gonna thanks for coming back on, by the way, kind of regular guest and stuff, but we're gonna get into that match for you. I believe Soul is doing that match.
Yes. And first, I just have to comment, love the Believe poster back there. Anyone watching Ted Lasso, they can understand that reference.
You didn't get to see it, but like when they asked if we were ready to go, I went over and slapped it. You just because it was cut out, you couldn't see it. But yeah.
Love it. But going into this match, round one, we have Collins going perfect, which is a doggo.
This is Rory, everyone. If you don't know her already, sorry,
what was the name?
Crashing. Rory. RORY. Rory.
But we have Collins going perfect. We have you missing the Goldfinger and the common question. My main question for you is, you looked like you knew it after the fact, and maybe if you would have gotten like a little bit extra time, do a JTE. So where were your thought process there with the common question?
Yeah, the common question I should have known. I've seen Selma. I love The Hate You Give. It's such a great movie and underappreciated, if you ask me. It just, I blanked, and when they told me it was common, you see me go like, I should have had it. And with the bond question, what's funny about that one is there's this area in my building where, like, if people are like purging stuff from their apartment, they put it there. If anyone wants to take it, they can. If not, they'll throw it out eventually. And about a couple months ago, you'll see me, if you watch me closely when they ask that question, you'll see me look across the room to the other side of the corner of my room, because hang on, this was staring at me.
Oh.
And I had yet to even crack them. And I was sitting there looking at them, it's like, why did you not watch those yet? And so, I was kicking myself for that one as well. So
you've opened them now, though, right?
Oh, they'll be watched before next season. That's for damn sure.
Are they gonna make an appearance on the wall behind you?
It's possible. I put one of them up just to try to mess with, like, because people research whatever. And the funny thing is, the one that I put up right here.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh.
Horrible. Yeah.
So you said people research. You mean like they look what you've got?
I would if I were
wall?
them.
Oh.
You look for any kind of edge you can get in this league.
Opposition research.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Once you see the Funko Pop in their background, you're like, okay, they really like that. We go.
That type of thing. Like when I played Paige, I noticed she had a Star Wars tattoo, and so I prepped Star Wars just in case she had thrown that on the wheel against me. Like for Adam, I was ready for. I studied David Lynch, I studied Stanley Kubrick, I went back and did a deep dive on horror. And the funny thing is that I knew going into. Oh, should I not go to round 2 yet? Do we want to get?
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
So when I spun Natalie Portman, I had already talked to Kate. I said the only way I'm going to have a chance in this, I got to floor it. I got to hope to get one of my wedges, and because anything could happen when it's not one of yours. And then when I spun new releases, I pretty much knew like, okay, this is not going to go well because I'd spent so much time this season trying to brush up on past movies that I wasn't that familiar with, that I kind of neglected new releases. Even in prep day before the match, we barely even touched on that wheel wedge. And so, yeah, it just kind of, that feeling just kind of sinks in. You're like, shoot, I know I can't curse on this one.
Oh, you can curse.
You can. You can curse.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Not that bad. Whoa.
That was my true response when you hear me go, ah. I'm just like, ah.
You were holding in the fuck.
I truly was.
But hey, they say go big or go home, and if it's one of those, it's the strategy you have to play. Is if you think the way I'm going to win this is getting one of my slices, which you were so close to sports.
Close. There's no question that was one of the slices that I put up there because I love sports movies, and yeah, I would have been much more confident had I spun that. But you never the wheel giveth, the wheel taketh away. It just happens.
But throwing over to Boggs, any thoughts on round 1 and round 2, and any questions for Peggy?
Yeah, so I think, Peggy, you kind of been in controversial matches, right? Like your and Paige's one. That wasn't controversial. That was just kind of a fun, really entertaining debut from both of you. Obviously, the Rick Rallis match, and now this one. So, I'll mention obviously the challenge and everything. So I'm sure you've talked about it to death and things like that. So, I mean, it was entertaining just from a neutral perspective. But what do you think? How do you like? Obviously, you did catch yourself. Obviously, you got the timing and everything. So how do you think just overall thoughts?
Yeah, honestly, that one is on me. Something that I've been made aware of that is a flaw in my game is I try to answer as quick as I can, as fast as I can. It just comes. That's how I've been playing, and I've been trying. Yeah, I've been trying to break that habit. You can watch my match versus Rager because it's something that we've been working behind the scenes. You can see me like almost like over expressing like. And then answer the question just because I've been wanting like take a breath, make sure you think it out. Don't just blurt out the first thing that comes into your head. And that's exactly what I did for that 2-pointer. And you see me like, as I'm saying it, you see me like my eyes go to the side, like, wait a second. No, that's not it. And so I tried to reel it back in as fast as I could. And then I was like, okay, yeah, no. And then I was in my head, like shaking, like, why did you just do that? And I'm like, yeah, it was basic instinct. And then out of nowhere, like Alice is like, well, we can wait for a final answer. And basic instinct, final answer. And I understood completely that Adam challenged it. I would have done the same thing. And like I said in the match, I would have understood had they ruled it either way.
And that's one thing that I notice whenever there's challenges, you're very graceful on like whatever they decide to do. It's kind of one of those, like, if they go my way, great. If they don't, great, let's continue with this match. And that's one thing that I really appreciate of you as a player. And then I'm also hearing you're just ready for speed rounds. You've got your mind ready for a championship match.
Well, see, it's only ready when it's the correct answer is the first one that comes into your mind.
Right.
Correct answer. So it's something that I'm definitely working on. It's a flaw, and it's something that I need to correct going forward.
But, throwing over to John, any questions for Peggy and thoughts on the match?
Yeah, I mean, listen, looking at some of these questions that got missed, like whenever I think about the movie Freaky, I just think about how I could be watching Happy Death Day instead. And then when I think about Aloha, I think I want to die. So I don't blame you missing either of those.
I was so mad. I am a big Cameron Crowe fan. That movie disappointed me wholeheartedly. Yeah. And I understand as a 3-pointer, they're not going to name the top 2 build characters. But had you said either Bradley Cooper or Emma Stone, then it would have clicked in my head. But I was like, Danny McBride and Rachel. Yeah, it didn't pull.
Absolutely. It's a tough one. And yeah, obviously, already having to go up against Adam Collins, the like highly friggin' touted rookie of the year, like singles champion last year.
Yeah.
To have to go up against him and get Aloha questions, that's not a fate I wish upon anyone.
No, yeah, like I said, I would basically need a Slumdog Millionaire-esque set of questions at this point in like just I know I have a lot of work to do. I would never say that I'm on Adam Collins' level yet. I stress yet.
A very good qualifier, to be sure. But it's also interesting. I want to talk to you a little bit about the Den as well. Obviously, the Den is a faction that's had a lot of like ups and downs as far as the season is concerned. Unfortunately, we have talked about how the Den is no longer being represented in this singles tournament. But also, like, you look at who's on this faction. You look at how much fun y'all are having, how much knowledge is indisputably there. And it's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you as Kate was kind of herself saying, like, yeah, we're not winning the faction tournament this year. Like, you hear her just straight up say that in the Alonso match. It's not like anyone has anything bad to say about the Den, aside from maybe your opponent of the day. But, like, I think, obviously, it must be tough to kind of, like, be in that faction where you know, like, you're not necessarily going to be the ones claiming the big cash prize at the end of it. But, like, I mean, I just feel like looking at all of the love that's in this faction, like, all of the, like, great times y'all seem to have, is that something where, like, at a certain point, do you just let that go and just be like, hell yeah, this is just fun. Let me just have fun with my friends.
Well, the singles competitors have gotten to that point, obviously. I mean, it might still be mathematically possible if the old guard runs the table in the teams tournament. Saul does his thing over in IG, and Harper already claimed that belt. I'm so proud of that man. So happy for him. But it's unlikely at this point. But that doesn't mean we're not still working. We're not still. I mean, we're still in contact on a daily basis. But it's frustrating because there's so much talent on that squad. Look at Ben Goddard. There's no way he should have the record he has with the knowledge that he is capable of pulling. Paul Preston, unfortunate. I mean, so many bad breaks. Jader should have had a better season than he did. Jess, look at Rachel. She only had that match against Paige. It's frustrating because you know how talented and how special all of these people are, and you just wish that it would be reflected in their records, and sometimes it just doesn't go that way, unfortunately.
Every now and then, yeah.
And as Nerd Chronic's saying here, the Den is the first faction guaranteed for Spectacular.
Yeah,
at least.
True.
How about that?
I will be there, hopefully walking Mr. Harper to the stage. Hopefully.
There you go.
One thing I wanted to ask too is, I've just loved Kate as a manager this year. I loved her last year with her accent. I was one of the ones that loved the Chicago accent and loved her comedy on screen. I think she's one of the funniest people. But this year, she's just been such a great manager from like the viewer perspective, and that she knows how to be a manager for each of her players. And that pep talk that she gave you in round 3, like right before round 3, what's it like to have Kate as a manager and be there to give those pep talks?
I think what's great about her is she knows that, yeah, we've all got different personalities. We respond to different types of coaching better or worse or not better or worse, just more productively, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's like, I mean, she's Mama Kate. Like, she knows that you can't treat all your kids the same, you know, that not everyone's personalities are going to respond to different things. And so she knows that sometimes you got to snap my head back in. Sometimes you got to give me like words of encouragement. She can sense when that type of thing is needed. And she's always entertaining no matter what form of coaching she's given. So that's what makes it great.
Boggs, any more questions for Peggy?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure. Maybe Corruption have also booked a place in Spectacular, because obviously Marisol and Chance are playing it. Is the winner of that going to play the winner of the tournament? Then I think they've also booked.
I would
right?
assume I have not heard, so I don't want to say one way or another because I just.
Well, you can tell us now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
We don't know that, like, by the time that New York event rolls around, they're not just gonna be like, and the third competitor, the Warfather, he can show up. We don't know.
Kevin Smith or someone. Yeah.
Christian does like his twists, so hey, you never know what's gonna come at you.
Yeah. But yeah, I was thinking, so, you know, we've got a lot of people in the chat, and like, you know, people that kind of want to be in your shoes in terms of a fan league. You know, loads of people play fan leagues and stuff who watch and in the community and stuff. And I was thinking, what like kind of advice would you give people? Because you've been through the journey, you know, you've auditioned, you went through the draft, the season so far. Advice you give to people, or even potentially do you have any even regrets that you have, or things that you would have done differently, you know, things that you could kind of spread some knowledge?
Well, it's just with the changes that are coming next season, I'm not so sure that the process is going to be the same. I don't think that he's going to be holding open auditions. I was lucky enough to get in when I got in, and I don't think that window is going to be open any longer, unfortunately. My best advice is, if you love playing in the fan leagues, keep doing it. And if you're undeniable, one of the managers will see you. And just, you got to hope that they've got a spot on their squad, or they give word of mouth to somebody else who does or something like that. But I mean, yeah, just if you love it, keep doing it, and maybe something will happen. Maybe something will come of it.
How about anything you would have done differently at all this year? You know, in hindsight, or just if you could do it all over again.
Just because I was just on a after show a couple hours ago, and they had asked me a similar question, and if I thought about it, I'd probably say something different. But the first thing that came to my mind is I wouldn't have been drinking the day of the free for all. I was happy. I was sitting there watching it all go down. I had like number 23 or 24 or something like that. I'd have to go back and check. But I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna do so many rounds. I got this. And then I get in there, and yeah, I just got it wrong. I was the only one who went over. Yes. And just after I signed out, I got out of the room. I just sat there. I'm just like, I cannot believe that just happened. I cannot believe I just went over. And like, that was the event I was looking forward to the most. I campaigned hard for a spot in that, and so that was extremely disappointing. So yeah, that would probably be my advice to myself.
But you'll always be remembered for that, I guess. So
it's not something I want to be remembered for at all. But hey, hopefully maybe I'll get a spot in Free for All 5, and I can redeem myself.
Redeem yourself. Yeah.
We all have those moments in our lives where we're like, oh, that was probably the day I shouldn't have drank as much. For me, it was Jesse Swift's bachelor party.
I think I was just a half second too slow, brain power wise. So yeah.
Fair enough. Well, shoot, Soul, we're gonna bounce on over unless you have any further questions. We also have some wonderful Discord questions from all of the wonderful Patreons. Patreons? Sure. Patreon.com/John Roca is where you can go to be a patron and leave some questions in the Discord, like the fantastic question Soul is about to read out now.
So first we have from Jeremy Miller. Besides Chicago, what city would you like to do a live event at?
Okay, well, I'm going to be at the Brooklyn event. I will also be at Spectacular. I'm not going to be participating in either, unfortunately. If I had to choose one where I was participating in, Paris? No.
Never say never.
No, but yeah, let's go in the Continental 50 because I'm assuming that would be the case. You know what? Dallas. Dallas would be cool because my best friend lives outside of Dallas, and to have her come and see me perform, that would be dope.
I hear Dallas is a fun town. I haven't been, but I hear it's fun. Now we have from Drunken Prayer. Pitch Nick Cage in a hypothetical Linklater movie. He loves his Nick Cage questions.
Nick Cage in a Linklater movie. Well, it'd definitely be something that they did in sections kind of like Boyhood over a set of years, because he's doing something like that similarly again. You know what? It'll be something in the 90s. You know how they did that? Everybody Wants Some was a spiritual sequel to Days Confused. I would think the spiritual sequel to Everybody Wants Some, and starring Nick Cage. That'd be dope.
Nick Cage inventing baseball.
Yeah, he'd be like the head coach of some minor league baseball team, and you'd follow one of the guys from Everybody Wants Some, maybe Taylor Hoechlin.
Sure, I
prefer Glenn Powell. That's just because I love Glenn Powell, but
that would be fun to watch.
I say Tyler Hoechlin. Anyways.
I now need that movie's in existence, so let's get that happening. And the last question we have here from Gift Taylor: how do you think the Chicago Bears will do this season? Oh no!
Yeah, the Barbarian was talking about how the Rams won. Yeah, the Rams beat the Bears, but you want to know what? No, hurt people. Craig, you lost to Paul Preston in the Schmoedown Fantasy Football League week 1, and I won against Jader. So we got to win. I got to win somewhere, but it depends on the offensive line. Honestly, the offensive line holds up. Let's Montgomery break off some good runs and hopefully Justin Fields will be in there, keeps him upright. We'll be decent. Remains to be seen though.
We'll see. I lost my first week of fantasy, but that's because Ezekiel Elliott.
Nah. I'm 2-1. The one I lost is because Aaron Rodgers was my starting quarterback. Yeah, not a great stats day for 12 up there.
But John, do we have any patrons to come in and ask some questions?
We certainly do. We have 2 at the moment, starting off with, of course, potentially the MVP of Patreon question askers. I'll have to have somebody else do the stats because I can't do math, but hey, it's Drunken Prayer. There he is.
Hey, Pegs, how you doing? How you doing, dear?
I am hanging in there.
You hanging in?
Yep. How about
feeling
yourself?
good? All right. Long time no see.
Yeah, it's
we've not done a show together in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But
sorry, we'll get you back on my show soon.
Yeah, we don't get to hang out anymore. Sorry about the Linklater question, by the way, but awesome.
No. I would want more time to come up with like a pitch on that one. Honestly, just in the spot.
I'll message you on Facebook in future if you're coming on. I'll let you know in advance. So you
there you go. Yeah.
When they do movie fights 2049 or whatever the fuck.
Anyway, Peggy had a genuine question. Mm-hmm. It's a two-parter, but what's your favorite sports movie? And recast that with a modern cast.
Ooh.
That's such a okay. So I probably have to go with League of Their Own. Is my favorite sports movie, just based on
good choice.
Yeah.
And they're about to do a recast version of it on Amazon. How about that?
Really?
The series, yes.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's already been done for me. But if I had to recast movie-wise, in the Tom Hanks role, who would I put in there?
Older Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I probably still cast Tom Hanks.
Not one of your sons. There's awkward things about them, like.
You know what? Maybe like Chris Evans or something. I don't know.
Ooh.
Just appease Christy V.
You got to do something to make your girl happy.
Thinking Chris Evans or Chris Pine. Oh, thinking a different Chris.
Make them swap halfway through the movie. See if anyone notices.
But yeah, like I don't know who's.
Pratt was in Moneyball too. Thinking of the Chris's.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But yeah, no. But it'd be a close second would be Remember the Titans. It still blows my mind how many Remember the Titans questions go missed in the Schmoedown. Like, yeah, I get to get one. One of these days.
It's the Schmoedown curse.
But who would be in the Gina Davis role? I'm trying to think of who's really tall out there in Hollywood right now at the moment. Who could do it?
Elizabeth Debicki.
Okay. Yeah, she came up in the match.
Oh, that's true.
No, Christina Hendricks is quite short.
Yeah, I don't know if I can see her. I don't know if she's got the athletic prowess to do it.
That's true.
Maybe like Mackenzie Davis or something like that. She's tall.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a great
Emma the question will be, though, will they be actually playing baseball? Because they actually were playing baseball when they shot the movie the first time.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to see that series. Hopefully it's good.
Hopefully, yeah.
And what was the second part of the question?
Oh, that was the entire question.
Was it? Okay.
That was recast movie.
I want to make sure I hit
look at the chat because everyone loves you. You're one of the fan favorites in this league, and that's not just from me. That's from everyone.
Appreciate
love you
it.
to bits.
I'll see you soon, bud.
Very true.
What's that, Chris?
See you later, Chris. As we bring on our second competitor. Second competitor. Oh God, we're about to make him. Compete. Fight. Canada Rocks. It's Canada Rocks. Canada Rocks.
I didn't know I didn't know I was competing, man. I'm gonna
get your whiteboard. Come on, let's go.
I am the champ in the Outlaw Nation, I could do it. All right, Peggy. First of all, if I had $1 for every time I regretted drinking, you and I could have a good time in Vegas. That's all I gotta say. But so this year, there's already been last year and this year. From last year's crop, there's already been 2 rookies that became champs, right? Most recently Marisol. Woo, that was awesome.
Yep.
Who do you think from this year's crop of rookies has a chance of being champ next year?
Next year, there's a chance, right?
Or even this year.
Yeah, there's Mr. Amadou Moses, I think, has a great shot at doing it. I don't know why people underestimate his ability. He's going to give Mike a fight. And Kalinowski is a incredible talent. So I wouldn't be surprised if that match goes either way. But I am rooting for my boy.
Okay, I meant like singles, but that's good too.
Oh, okay, and singles.
Yeah, singles.
I'm gonna stick with propping up my family 4 buddies. Jacoby is gonna wreck shop next season. He gave the kid all that he could handle. He had that match. It came down to the 5. It's so unfortunate that it didn't fall his way. But Jacoby, he was player of the year in the fan leagues for a reason. He is an incredible talent, and I could definitely see him holding a belt soon.
Cool. And Drunken Prayer was right. I am a fan, and you are one of my favorites, so therefore you're a fan favorite.
Well, thank you, sir.
All right.
Appreciate that.
And good luck. I guess you're not playing more this year, so go.
No. But you want to know what? I will
What?
be coming out with some fire next season for sure.
You guys will
I
see each
can't
other
wait.
at Spectacular, right?
Yes, I will be
Both
there.
going?
Well, if they let me in the country.
Yeah,
Because
that's-
I am seriously worried, and I'm not even joking. I am seriously worried I won't be let into the country. I thought it'd be okay by now. Sorry to bring everyone down.
Nah.
But yeah,
Fingers crossed that you get to attend.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, and I'll talk to everyone later.
See you later.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Canada rocks as we bring on our third and perhaps final patron. I'm not sure, but we have, of course, the champ himself. We have Brennan here joining us once again.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Peggy.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. So good to see you.
Good to see you.
So, if there was to have a match, if you were to have a match, actually, let me back up. I would cast Laura Kelly in the Gina Davis role.
Ooh, she could rock that part for sure.
If they were to have a Schmoedown match that was just themed about one movie or one series of movies that you would like to play in, what would it be?
Okay, I'm going to give you two answers to that. If it's a series of movies, I would go with the Before trilogy. As Drunken Prayer alluded to earlier, I'm a huge Richard Linklater fan. I love that trilogy. It's my favorite trilogy, and that's high praise considering how many amazing trilogies there are out there. And if it was a single movie, because I happen to win the Video Chronic, and just dig a little bit of Sean back there in the background, because I beat him in it. Coming to America. It's one of my favorite rom-coms of all time, and I've seen that movie 100 times.
What they did to that dog.
Oh no, we got the shaking Sean head again.
He's still upset.
Yeah. Sorry, but he was.
I missed the Sean cutaways.
Yeah, no, those are great choices. I just competed last week in a Princess Bride match on video.
I was watching.
Yeah, that's right. You were there in the audience, and not to toot my own horn, but I aced it. So.
Yeah, you played really well. No, it doesn't shock me.
So,
you always play spectacular, Brennan.
yeah, thank you. But much luck to you in the future.
Oh, thanks.
And the sky's the limit.
We shall see. I'm working towards it. I'm going to be working my butt off in the off season. That's for sure.
Hey, believe.
Yes. Always.
Oh, may the force be with you.
And also with you. Sorry, that's like 13 years of Catholic school. That just it's a reflex.
No.
Just snaps back.
I think that all the time too. Whenever may the force be with you, I have to be like, say may the force be with you back up, not and also.
Did you know they changed the masses? Like I stopped going to church a long time ago, but every once in a while I go with my parents, like on Christmas Eve or something like that. And then from back in the day, I had all the responses down by heart, and then it changed it. I'm like, oh,
changed
shit.
it.
Yeah. So I just sit there, shut the fuck up.
Oh gosh. Well, Brennan, thank you so much for hopping on.
Guys. And Tuesday, I got an FCL match.
Good luck, sir. I hope you kick some ass.
Good luck.
Thank you. And I'll try my best.
Take that belt off the phone plus.
Yes.
Yep. You can do it.
Please. We must avenge my dear friend Warfather. Well, shoot, Peggy, we can't thank you enough for hopping on the show. Not once, but multiple times, even being in the chat as well. You are one of our favorite people over here on the show. We were so happy to have you on as many times, and we're so excited to see what you get up to next year as well. We know it's going to be awesome. That said, I wanted to ask you right now if you've got any final words for the Schmoedown world at large until next season, and then also anything you wanted to plug as well.
Words for next season. Always put me on the spot here, and I would never think to prepare anything for it. I will say that my rookie season, to put it in a word, disappointing to me. I put a lot of pressure on myself. I expect a lot of myself, and I'm just going to use this as fuel to the fire to come back even bigger, better, stronger, faster next season. I don't know what the cards hold. There's a lot of changes coming, but I promise anyone out there, if I am not one of the lucky 5 to remain on the Den, if Kate decides to go another way, I will work my butt off wherever I land. Hopefully still with the Den, but you never know. As far as plugs go, I host a show over on one of the Fan League Facebook pages or YouTube channels. It's called Feature Presentation Productions. And the show is called Fantasy Film Fights, where we take a random film topic and we draft it fantasy style. Last week, we drafted a quote-unquote football team where we drafted characters from football movies, and we built a team of 5 instead of 11. You'd have to see it. It's a fun show. And this next week, we are drafting black and white movies, so that could go any which way. It'll be a fun time. So if you're into that kind of thing, come check it out one time.
There we go. Thank you so much. Be sure to check out Fantasy Film Fights. Thank you so much, Peggy, for hopping on the show. We really do appreciate it, and we hope you have a lovely rest of your Saturday evening.
Well, thank you guys for having me. It's always a pleasure, and I always try to support. You'll see me in the chat almost every episode.
We love you here.
Oh, yeah. We see it, and we love it. Thank you so much. You have a good rest of your night, Peggy.
Thanks, Peggy.
You guys too. Bye, guys.
Oh, my gosh. What a gem.
That's the show.
No, Bugs, you
Damn.
silly, my dear, sweet, silly boy. We've actually got 2 whole other ding-dang matches to talk about as I move a little bit upwards. We have 2 other matches to talk about. And this first one we're going to do a little bit quick, just because we're already hitting that 90-minute mark, and we got a big old title match to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
We do have another wonderful match to talk about, though, another live match to get into very quickly. That being the aforementioned Jacoby Bancroft representing the Stars, going up against Brendan Meyer, one of the current team's champions over as part of Shazam, representing the Quirky Mercs. And this match happened to go Brendan Meyer's way. You know, it's something that we were talking about a little bit earlier. There are certain players that don't have much luck this year when it comes to matches, and that can apply for basically any member of the Stars. A lot of hard matches that they've been given, to be clear, to be fair. These are some great players, but they just get put up against folks like Brendan Meyer, and sometimes that's just a no-win situation. Looking at the match itself, both players had a miss in round 1. Brendan missed the Sylvester Stallone characters, which might have been the first question of the round of the match, if I'm not mistaken. Meanwhile, Jacoby missed the John Malkovich Secretariat question. So it was tied coming out of round 1. But then out of round 2, we saw a 4-point differential in favor of Jacoby, which I thought was huge. Jacoby getting spinner's choice, Robert Rodriguez, and he went completely perfect. You love to see it. Meanwhile, Brendan Meyer spun and stuck with thrillers when that was his first wheel slice. He missed the unbreakable question, which Jacoby was able to steal. And I remember watching this match, being one of the folks here on the show, because we might have all, I think one of us went with Jacoby for the upset win.
Boggs, right?
Boggs was the one.
I switched, right? Remember?
Yes, you switched.
For the last 4 weeks, I've been saying Jacoby, but it's keep getting delayed. So I was like, okay. So,
well, it was in this moment that I was like, Boggs shouldn't have switched. Oh, this is where he gets that 3 out of 4 matches this week, because it was looking pretty messy for Brendan Meyer. But then what winds up happening? Brendan gets his 2, his 3, and his 5, with Jacoby getting his King of Staten Island 2-pointer in that mix, of course. And then Jacoby happened to just have to handle 2 questions that were not in his wheelhouse. I think is a little bit too harsh. They were more in his blind spot, is the way we'll put it. You know, he wasn't able to hit that good son Macaulay Culkin, and it seemed like from the second the question was asked, he was like, "Yeah, I don't know anything about this." And I think I only sort of know because I think the good son is the one where he dies by bees, or is that Look Who's Talking? Which movie is that he dies by bees? Someone in the chat, let me know, when does Macaulay Culkin get dead by bees?
My Girl.
My Girl.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Yes, he wasn't a good son in My Girl, and that's what I should have remembered. Meanwhile, back in the match, the Kenneth Johnson Steele 5-pointer with that Innergeekdom DC movies question. You know, it's a tough one. You know, you could kind of see Jacoby pulling out the whiteboard going like, all right, what comic book movies have I seen? Who directed what? It was a close match. Like, this might have been the moment where the Stars could have mounted as something like a comeback. But unfortunately, it just wasn't in the cards for Jacoby. So, Sol, I want to bounce it over to you first. general thoughts on this match, and where your heart was leaning at this point, and who kind of impressed you more, I guess, because obviously Brendan walking away with the win, but Jacoby really making Brendan fight for it.
Yeah, Jacoby really impressed me, and we've seen him just play lights out and just sometimes not have things go his way by the end of the matches. But while he's so talented, I kind of agree with Peggy before. He has a real shot of getting a belt next year because he's just so good so far. Man, to get a steal 5-pointer, that I don't wish that upon anyone. And it was nice to see Robert Rodriguez. I don't think we've seen Robert Rodriguez as a slice yet. So that was nice to have a new slice be shown this season.
Yeah, I think maybe we've seen it once or twice, but I think it's maybe been not spun. I don't know. It was certainly nice to see Robert Rodriguez questions asked, to be fair. And then Boggs, I'll bounce on over to you. Yeah, kind of like what Sol was saying. Jacoby could easily be a title holder this time next year. Do you think that he might be one of the 5 folks that Roxy could potentially hold on to, what with the havoc of her roster this year? And then looking at Brendan Meyer, obviously he's a reigning teams champ right now. Do you think so far, based on this match, he's got what it takes to potentially be the winner of this singles tournament?
Potentially, sure. Yeah, because obviously he's really good. And, he pushed Collins all the way last year, if I remember. I think he lost by like 1 point. But yeah, Jacoby, I don't know. He is good, but I guess luck didn't go his way. He was a better player for 2 rounds, I felt. I was a bit shocked when Brennan missed that unbreakable question. That might be an age thing potentially. Maybe he's a bit young from when that was kind of out. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, obviously Jacoby got that half 5-pointer. Who directed steal? Who cares? Should be the answer. But obviously he missed it, and hard luck. But he still has a second chance this season. He's still in the teams tournament. I believe he's playing Deception. I believe so.
That is correct. He's playing now the current.
It's another rough one. That's what I mean. It's like, it feels like if you get a win, if you're a rookie and you get a win, somehow, some way, you scrape to a win, and then they just chuck you in at a deep end. So, yeah, it's a sink or swim kind of thing. But that's the game as it is now. And will he get kept? Maybe. I think so. Because to be fair to the Rockstars, I mean,
the Stars now.
Oh, sorry, the Stars. Yeah, I've done that so many times this year. The Stars, they have lost 2 of their best players, who were some of the 2 of the best players to ever play the game during the season, right? So that's how I always think. I know they're bottom, and they're probably going to stay bottom for the rest of the season, but I do always think that, okay, they did lose 2 of their best. So that's I'm never too harsh on them. But yeah, I think based on what she's got left, she may as well keep him, but who knows? They're a bit up in the air this year. But yeah, he's got a second chance in teams tournament, but good luck, because you got a tough one.
Absolutely. And as Leo Logan there pointed out in the chat, the Stars are 0-4 when Roxy isn't there managing. Well, then, hey, this season is just a testament to how good of a manager Roxy is by association of not being there for matches, I suppose, right? Is that something?
I looked it up because Boggs did say age thing. I was like, how old is Brendan Meyer? It will have this on Google because he's an actor. So he's 26.
Aha! I'm younger.
Yeah. He has a birthday. Yeah. He has a birthday coming up October 2nd. Well, he'll turn 27.
There we go. Happy birthday to Brendan.
Hopefully we'll get him on.
Meyer. Yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say on that match. Was there a 4th match we have to talk about?
No, I'm not sure.
Don't know. I didn't see it.
I guess we could kind of bring the producers on then to talk about our predictions for next week, right?
I mean, shout out to Brandon Hanna, who's managing.
Yeah, shout out to Brandon Hanna. We love Brandon Hanna over here.
Well, that's the show, guys. So
yeah, I guess that's about it. Hold on a second. Can you guys give me a second? Can you guys give me 1 second? I just
you don't need bathroom really again.
Look at that! Look at that!
Oh, there we go. Here, I forgot about that. I forgot about this.
Look at that! That's right. That's right. You bet against Philly? You bet against Philadelphia?
Full screen. Full screen.
Yeah, why is he not full screen right now?
Guys, we have a title match to talk about. Did you know this? Had you heard about this?
I was looking to dodge these Philly guys or girls.
Oh, how dare you? You can't dodge us ever. Welcome to the town of fucking around and finding out, ladies and gentlemen, and all of my non-binary friends. This is Gritty's world, and we're all just living in it. Welcome back to the Corruption Take.
I have a very important question.
How dare you? But I'll take it. I'll take it.
I have a very important question. Is that a crop top?
Of course it's a crop top. And I'll tell you this right now. Follow up. Yes, I'm going to trade it in for an even smaller one. I had abs for a hot second at the top of quarantine when I was working out because I had nothing else to do. I can get there again.
I think when you go spectacular, John, I think that's the look.
That's true. See me at spectacular. Well, it's going to be December, so that's going to be sweater weather. Maybe it'll be warm enough, though, where I can do the, like, sweater and shorts because that's a big look.
Or maybe you'll be indoors, so it'll be fine to be in your crop top.
Gang, post them in the comments.
Some vote.
Folks, Ethan Erwin is one of the cemented greatest to be playing this game at the moment, if not one of the greatest of all time. Obviously, we all have our different debates and thoughts on what a Mount Rushmore of the Schmoedown even looks like and what are the quantifiers for it. But he's absolutely one of the best to be playing it right now. He's been having a heck of a season. But Marisol McKee just cut it a little bit short. And now he's got to wait and see how this team's game works out for him. I'm very excited to talk about this match. So I will toss it over to Boggs, and he's going to actually break down the match as a whole.
I mean, you can really do it, John, if you really want to.
I really blew out my voice a little bit. And so I'll actually take a bit of a vocal rest.
Sure.
I'll drink some nice.
You need to go bathroom again?
My throat?
Go ahead.
Yeah, the beer will help. The alcohol will help there.
Sure.
I love talking.
Clearly, yes. I will give a shout out to the cutscene. It was nice to have a cutscene, in studio and stuff with Winston, Dan, Kaiser, Collins coming in last minute. It was actually nice to see Collins, in a live event in a studio. He's actually really tall. And I was like,
yeah, he's super tall.
Yeah. Yeah, and his hair's like longer than I thought. And yeah, it was just kind of a bit surreal to see him because he's earned it. Him and Marisol, out of everyone, since the digital age, these guys have really, earned and warranted a live event and match. So good on them. And they did the little kind of, Jen did the, I don't know what you call it, like the walk around interview type thing with all the girls and stuff. So that was kind of nice. And yeah, obviously they had the walkouts, Marisol with a kind of costume outfit. She's got her own music. That was kind of cool. Finally seeing the Lady Justice, doing the hand wraps and the walk. So yeah, it was kind of nice to see finally these guys getting the studio matches. So yeah, in the first round, bit of a shift or a bit of a stutter, I'd say, for Marisol. Only getting 6 for her. I think that was a bit surprising, especially missing the first question and the third question. Ethan going perfect and getting his bonus, finishing 9-6. I thought, oh no, okay, is she too far behind already? Because we know Ethan's really good in the 4th round and all the experience and the studio match. So I thought a little bit writings were potentially on the wall. So dramatic first round, John. Thoughts on the match so far?
Fun fact, I was a college freshman dorm mates with one of the stars of the Fear Street series. And that's the majority of what I have to offer talking about this first round. But yeah, I do agree with you, Bug. Certainly, it's not just the fact that Marisol missed a couple of questions, but also just, again, talking about how insanely well Ethan has been playing this season. Like,
right.
He beat Dan Merle, which is something that he's been struggling to do again since he first beat him in that singles tournament of, I think it was 2018, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been a while since he was able to clinch that singles win once again. And he's also doing some really great stuff over in the teams division as well, with Lightning Time being the #1 contenders, if I'm not mistaken, at this current point in time. So, like, this was one of those things where it's like, yeah, of course, no knock on Marisol, but it is one of those things where it's like you see it all the time at this elite level. You see it a lot in the Star Wars tournament where it's like, once you miss, like, one question, it is sort of that, like, oh, is that it? Like, you just kind of have to assume that when you're looking at players of this caliber.
Yeah, most definitely. And you're right. I mean, for me, up until this match, Ethan has been the best player this season I've seen. So, you know, when it was 9-6, kind of shocked at the, it felt like such a huge gap. And then, you know, going first, you know, Corruption go first as they do somehow. And she spins James Stewart, lands on that, goes perfect. You know, she's kind of stuck, landed Hitchcock before, so we know that she's going to be strong on it. She goes perfect, no surprise. Ethan goes first, spins off Wizarding World Shock, and lands on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And he does go through the round really strong, the first 1, 2, and 3. And then it comes to the kind of change or shift in the match where, you know, he ends up missing the first word question in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And, you know, he guessed wrong, and, you know, he seemingly didn't hear, or he was questioning the wording of the question, didn't ask for a repeat, kind of seemed to last second rush it. And then, you know, Marisol stole, obviously, the pizza line, and I thought Sam was going to challenge, and then it seemed like Ethan, well, obviously they tell us afterwards post-match, Ethan kind of suppressed the challenge because he just simply didn't know it. So strange set of events, but ended up such a shift, and Marisol leading 16-15, kind of shocked at that point. And then, thoughts on the match so far and the kind of miss and the whole kind of dramatic events happening there?
We've seen Marisol do really well, like Hitchcock, with classics questions. So when she hit Jimmy Stewart, I was like, okay, she's gonna run this because that's how good of a player she is, and that's what she did. I love the Ethan Erwin is so funny, and you don't think of him like as one of the funniest players is Ethan Erwin, but just the fact of him just there, it's like, oh, I'm gonna confer with my manager, we're gonna spin again, kind of with the Wizarding World. That was such a hilarious like little moment in there, and earlier too this year with like the hat and everything, kind of just his little moments. I really want to like highlight his comedy, super great. But yeah, that swing, and with the question, because he seemed like, is it the first line in the movie or is it the first line when they're babies? And when I was like, is it pizza? I don't know. It might be pizza. And then Ethan Erwin said something else. I was like, maybe it's not pizza. And so, but when she answered pizza, I was like, oh, okay, it is pizza.
Well, it's like you said, Bugs. He should have used the repeat. And I think that's part of why he didn't push the challenge, because I think it's one of those things where it's just like, the confusion, obviously it's understandable just based on, you know, sometimes the way you hear a question, the way a question is worded, there's always so much gunk that can go into it. And I think this was just an instance of like, he got like a little too much in his head, and that's what caused him to just try and blurt something out. And I think if he'd taken the repeat, he might have been able to get it. But also, by the way, he's talking to Sammy, it's just like, yeah, no, like that one wasn't going to come to me. And that's what happens sometimes. And it led for a very interesting switch up in round 2. That's actually a moment where I got up out of my chair. I'll be honest with you. Like, y'all thought I put this on as like a bit, but I was legitimately like watching live, like rooting for Marisol. I just need y'all to understand that. All right. I've been living this.
Were you like a 76ers fan when like the 76ers are doing well, like just going absolutely crazy?
It's happened more recently that that's been the case.
Yeah, what was surprising for me is, well, first of all, shout out to Logan in the chat who was there as well. And Smithy was there, I saw in the crowd. And Candle Rock saying he got 6 out of 8, so he can be champ as well. Yeah, you wish. And then going into the third round, because the thing is, like, I was shocked because Ethan has all the experience, the big match experience, the in-studio experience. I didn't expect the blurt, so yes, I also kind of half jumped out my seat as well when he kind of missed and then got stolen. And then going into round 3, where, you know, this was where I was like, no way. Like, obviously they got the betting round, you know, both betted 3. They got the David Lynch question, what was his first Oscar nominated movie? Ethan goes Blue Velvet, and Marisol says Elephant Man, he gets it correct. And then such that, you know, that you know, meant the score was 19-12. You know, Ethan just clapped. But yeah, I mean, I saw Shannon and Marisol kind of half celebrating there, like, that's it, it's done, just keep that lead. You know, she's such a good player that we know that, you know, she's pretty much going to go perfect the rest of the match. So it was kind of up to the 4th round for Ethan. You know, he's showing how strong he is at that at the 4th round. But I want to get both your thoughts quickly on the 3rd round, because that was such a dramatic shift, ending 19-12. That was a shock to see. But yeah, she was on point there. So go with Sol first.
Like I said before with Peggy, the go big or go home mentality. And I guess it was just like, yeah, I'm going to bet 3 points because Ethan Erwin, he has that confidence. Fortunately, didn't get the answer right. And that was the biggest shock in the match for me. And you see him trying to like fix it a little bit in round 4, and he was able to close the gap by 1, I believe. But man, just the fact I was just like, oh my God, 7 points differential between Ethan Erwin and Marisol.
Right.
That was crazy.
It was. And yeah, just to comment on the 4th round as well. Yeah. So Ethan did get 3. She got 2. Marisol got 2, including, the Catherine Hepburn question, another classics question. So we know that, she was a bit sharper there, but she kind of managed to get points in that round, even though Ethan was kind of this master of the 4th round, but first time playing in a title match in studio. I thought she done great composure as well. And she just kind of held the lead, ending the 4th round 21-15, because, he did score 3. But John, overall kind of feeling of that 3rd round and the dramatic thing, because you must have been, throwing your shirt off and twirling it and stuff. So.
Absolutely. Well, no, I saved the shirt throwing off for this show specifically. I knew it was going to be a great moment that everyone universally loved and didn't just compare me to Dagnino and Snyder. But this was, I think Barbarian put it really well when he was like, yeah, these are 2 people like at the top of their game right now. And it just comes down to like both getting asked the same question and who just has that recall, who's going to have the pull in the moment. And this just happened to be a testament to Marisol. We could hear the earth shake like it just did in Bog's camera. Over there.
I hit my microphone. Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. I had to go to the bathroom during the show. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just a testament to, I think, specifically how strategy-minded Marisol was, how ready for this she was. Again, we've talked about this being her first live match, like, in a studio, because she joined last year, so she has not been, like, in a live setting of any sort, aside from, of course, the live pay-per-views of like streaming live, but that's a whole other kettle of fish. So like just the sheer amount of like preparation and hard work that went into this just to see like 2 of the best like duke it out. I mean, truly like by round 2, I was already thinking like this match is really good. And it was by round 4 that I was like, this is now up there for me in my list of potential best matches of the year.
For sure, just on the twist and turns alone, and who it happened to and against, because there was a stage I thought Ethan might get TKO'd here, which I never would have thought of happened in a title match in the cantina, and like that was just never a concept I would have imagined, but it actually didn't happen. Of course, Ethan did get his 2, 3, and 5. He kind of stormed through that, and then Marisol, all she needed was a 2 and a 3. She took her time on a 3. And I got it right, and she became the first female singles champ, and and it was kind of a shocking turn of events, and it was great for her. She's obviously proven her worth, what a great player she is. But I did think there was a bit of honor as well with the way Ethan finished the match in terms of the interview afterwards, saying I didn't want to challenge, I didn't know, because he could have, we've seen players do it all the time. We speak about it all the time. People doing challenges to, even though they know they're not going to win challenges, or, to try and get another question potentially. It happens all the time. So there was a bit of a kind of honor in that I saw from Ethan. So respect to him. But it's obviously Marisol's time, and her against Chance next. But we'll give it to Sol, obviously first singles champ. Being a lady, and she's such a nice lady as well. But overall thoughts on that, and moving forward, she's playing Chance next.
Yeah, when the post-match interview there, I actually teared up a little bit. Just the emotions, like you're having finally a woman be represented as the champion, and it's a woman of color as well. And so as a woman of color, I was very much like so happy in that moment. I wasn't jumping up and down like probably John was, but it was
legit jumped up for sure. Make no mistake.
But it was very emotional moment, because it was like finally we get a win, where it almost happened with Clark Wolf back then against Sam Levine. Now we actually have it happening, and she may be the first, but she won't be the last.
Yeah, she definitely is a fan favorite, I'd say, just generally. And the crowd was so positive for her, cheering her on and stuff. Even though they're a kind of heel faction, she still gets the cheers. But yeah, kind of interesting what Brian's saying there in the chat. I would love to see Mike manage Chance, and then Adam manage Marisol in New York, that would be cool. But we'll see.
I guess that assumes that Shannon is purely up in the rafters, just laughing.
She couldn't do that to Marisol, I don't think so. But John, yeah, any overall thoughts on the match? Anything you want to say for your Philly, fellow Philadelphian, I guess? But yeah,
I mean, Philadelphian works.
Yeah,
just pure congratulations. Like, this was so hard fought and so well deserved. Looking at, and the promo package showed this, like some of the incredible matches and incredible competitors that Marisol had to face. Obviously different than the like years of experience Ethan has had in battling some of like the well-established favorites, but like there's no mistaking that Marisol earned this. Anyone who says otherwise is a fool. And much like Sol was saying, yeah, that post game was beautiful. Getting to see Janine rush like right in at the top of it, especially considering how good their match was like leading into this. Like that's part of what made this match like an instant classic and purely based off of the game itself. Like not having anything to do with like race, anything to do with gender, anything to do with the city they're from. That was just like the pure, like that's just what you want to see. Like, yes, it's people remembering movies, but it's also folks being passionate about it. It's folks putting in the showmanship, folks like really taking themselves to the limit. Like that's what makes this a fun thing to watch, because it's not just people remembering things from movies, though I like to say that sometimes is a goof. No, it's also folks like really putting a lot of like character and passion into it. And there's a lot that was just on display here. It was wonderful to see, especially because it just kind of reestablishes what a crazy, evil genius Shannon Barney is as the manager of the faction of the year last year, and a faction that is now currently rated number 2 in the standings. If my math is correct, which I don't know if it is, Frankie Janish can correct me later, but right now my numbers have it that Corruption is 1 point beneath the Dungeon in number 2, and there's also only 1 loss underneath the Dungeon, because Dungeon, I believe, is 18-14. Corruption is now 18-15. And that's part of why I posed that question to y'all earlier. Would you give Marisol a lock for comeback player of the year? I don't know, because I would have to double check how she was at the beginning of the year, because I think she started off in that like initial teams bracket with Deception, right? Where it's like, yeah, I think they lost to either Rushmore or Danger Zone that they would have lost to.
Danger Zone, I believe.
Yeah. And they certainly performed well, but I think that kind of gets into more of the semantics of comeback player of the year. So that's kind of hard to really judge. Certainly a contender now for singles player of the year. Though she and Ethan Erwin are again going to be having a battle over that category. And then who knows who wins the singles tournament.
And I was going to say too, guaranteed 7 points out of New York for Corruption.
Yeah. It's not the first time for them for that either.
Yeah, I was gonna say you are right, John, about the evil genius thing. Like she's got that lined up. You know, the chance against Marisol. Obviously, Collins is still in the tournament. Mike's still the IG champ. You know, they're still in the teams tournament, so they've just got like so many big points there, like up for grabs and ability. And obviously, I think they've still got Scrimshaw in the Star Wars tournament. So yeah, lots of good position to be in Corruption. So yeah, they're doing great. And yeah, for me, she beat the best player in the game. So, you know, it was a big win, and looking forward to that next match against Chance.
Absolutely. And Cannon Rocks in the comments, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Shannon is the best heel in the Schmoedown right now, even better than Chandru. Guess who beat Chandru? Mike Kalinowski, also a pre-established all-time great heel managed by Shannon.
Isn't he Chandru's number 1 fan?
Yeah, he is Chandru's number 1 fan. Or he said he was.
Wow, we'll have to see.
I think Smithy might need to pick that up from him, because they were fighting over who was Chandru's number 1 fan.
Wow, when is that match going to be part of the Outlaw Nation? Goodness. Well, as Brian Nussbaum has pointed out, yes, Mike Kalinowski is playing Paul Walter Hauser this coming week. We're not going to talk about that just because we've talked about it in I think 2 different previous episodes now. But we do have some predictions to get into. And of course, we're going to need first and foremost one or both of our producers right now, Sean and Mike, depending on who is able to join us on screen. But we do also have to talk about his standings. And John is not doing too bad. Can we say that? Can we say John's not doing too bad compared to how badly he was doing for a hot second there?
I will say, if looking at this past week's picks, both Mike and John went perfect this week.
Hell yeah,
Sean and then Sean and I got 3 out of 4. Boggs got 2 out of 4 this week. So Boggs he may be the winner in the standings, but he did the worst this past week.
And last week I was the worst, I think, as well.
Going to these standings, Mike with 20 points, John with 63, myself with 71, Sean with 73, and Boggs with 82.
I broke 20.
We can give Mike 30, right? Can we all just agree to give Mike 30? Can we at least agree on that?
Inherit Collins points.
No, you can't inherit all of that because then you'd be winning.
Right. Yeah.
I think that was the argument.
Well, some of those would be doubled up, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that there's a lot of math involved. We'll figure it out in the back end somehow.
Well, here's what we have to figure out right now is who we think is going to win the next 2 matches that we're going to be discussing. Because, again, we've covered Mike versus Paul. We all picked Mike, so that could be a big upset for all of us. But I'm very curious to hear what we all think about this Star Wars match. It's the first match of this second tournament for the year. We have Nikki DiMolanta of the Usual Suspects, 1-0, going up against Ross Arsenault. He is now a member of the Den. He is their 3rd Star Wars competitor alongside Thomas Harper and Lacey Gilren, having been drafted up from the FCL. I'll be honest with you, gang. There's only so much time in a day, especially as a working adult. I've not been able to watch Ross's performances in the FCL, so I am kind of operating from a point of ignorance on this. But also, considering that his opponent, Nikki DiMolanta, just had her debut and had such a crazy good debut, going completely perfect against John Hoey, who is in his own right, a solid Star Wars competitor. I definitely think there's room for Ross to take this one. I'm not counting the guy out. For me to do that would be foolish because I don't even know him, especially because I think we now have 2 folks here in the chat calling it for Ross. Let's start over with Sean. Who do you have winning this match?
Just like you, John, grown man, haven't watched the FCL that much, unfortunately. So I'm not familiar with Ross at all. And if he were walking right now with a shirt that says "I'm Ross," I still wouldn't know who he was.
He's got TED Talks.
No offense on him. I'm not familiar with him. But I also agree with you, considering how well Nikki's debuted and considering what her last name is, not too much of a surprise. I think Nikki's gonna take the win, so I'm just gonna go with Nikki.
Absolutely, fair enough. Mike, who do you have winning this match?
I am the 3rd person here who's an adult with not. I barely have time to watch the Schmoedown. So, but I really like Ross's last name. That is such a Star Wars last name.
Yeah,
a little bit.
But I still got to give it to Nikki because it's Nikki. I mean, it's Nikki.
As good a logic as any, Mike. Thank you so much, Boggs. You kind of need to get back into your winning groove for these picks. So is it going to start here? Who do you have?
Yeah, I've been awful the last couple of weeks, but I will go for Ross because based purely on how the Den have built this guy up. Harper has told us he's going to run through the tournament, so I'm expecting him to run through the tournament or at least win the first match. So, but yeah, I mean, Nikki, she played great that match. I think she went perfect that match, which is kind of surreal to see because John Hoey is really good as well. So that she played great. But I'm going purely off of that. What they've all said he's really good. He's big things expected from him. So I'm expecting him to win this match, but we'll see.
That we shall. And then finally, Soul, who do you have winning this match?
When Nikki played her last match, everyone was surprised they thought she was going to do good, but they were surprised with how well she did. Person who wasn't surprised? Me. Because I've watched her play along to Star Wars matches before on their YouTube channel that she does with her husband. So in that, I'm going Nikki DiMolanta. She's so good.
There we go. That's fair enough. We're pretty close to an even split over here on the show, as much as we can be with 5 people. So it'll definitely be entertaining to see who winds up being right about that match and how great a match it is sure to be. And that brings us to our second match, which I'm sure is also going to be one heck of a barn burner. It is the first round 2 match of this singles tournament. Ben Bateman of the Dungeon going up against somebody who's been calling him out quite a bit in Paige Betty. I'll tell you right now, I'm going with Paige Betty on this. Certainly Ben Bateman is a very established powerhouse in the Schmoedown, but I do feel like it's been a hot second since he's really been in that serious contention for the singles belt. And I worry about the man. You know, I think he cares so much, and it sometimes is something where you just don't always see it click. He is similar to Paulo Yama in that way. Meanwhile, Paige is somebody that has made such a statement since hopping into this league. Like, she's already like one of the more beloved figures of this season. And one of the things that she came into this game on was, I want to fight Ben Bateman. I want to actually beat the real man up. So I am going with Paige. I believe in her. She has inspired that faith from me, and I'm excited to see it. Yes, Brian, as you mentioned, Mike versus Paul Walter Hauser. We've covered that before. We are going all with Mike Kalinowski for that match. But for this current match we're talking about, I'm going with Paige. Soul, how about you?
Paige Betty. She's been calling him out, and I believe in her, and Canada Rocks believes in her, and I think Leo Logan believes in her, and a few other people in the chat believe in her. So let's go, Paige.
There we go. And then I guess Canada Rocks technically does, but he just said Ben needs to lose. So that's a whole other kettle of fish we don't have time to get in on. Boggs, who do you have winning this match?
I think it's fair to say everyone wants Paige to win this match. I kind of think it'd be upset of the year as well, because like I said, we haven't had too many big upsets. Like, not to say that she isn't good, because obviously she is.
She's just not a former singles champ like Bateman
exactly.
is.
Exactly. But I'm going to go Bateman. If he doesn't win this match, for him, this has been kind of his worst season from the last few years, I'd say. Because, previously he's won tournaments, a teams tournament, a singles tournament, being singles champ, had at least title matches. This year, just kind of losing in win-loss here and there, that'd be a bit of a flop for him. So I'm expecting him to win, but I'm not surprised if Paige wins, because she's looking for blood. So I fully want her to win. So it'll be cool if she is.
That's fair. Boggs breaking down the head versus heart argument there for this match. Mike, who do you have winning? Your head or your heart?
I agree with what Boggs said. Like, this has kind of been Bateman's worst season in a while, especially compared to his previous years. There are 3 competitors in the Schmoedown that I will throw hands for. Okay, and they are John Roca, Laura Kelly, and Paige Betty. So Paige is so hungry. She wants this so bad, and she's coming in with that hockey. She's ready to rough somebody up, and she doesn't care if she spends time in the penalty box. She's going to make a statement. I'm throwing this one to Paige.
Hell yeah, there we go. And Sean, wrap it on us. John, buddy, wrap it on up for us. God. That sentence gave you so much trouble? Come on, John. You're technically an English major.
Is hard.
Hey, Sean, who do you have winning this match?
It can be. So let's not all jump at John at once.
No, you can. It's fine.
I so badly want to say Paige. I want to say Paige. My mouth wants to say it. My heart wants to say it, but I'm rooting for her. But I don't think. I think Ben's out for. I wouldn't say redemption, but I just think he's out to kind of prove to what you guys have been saying. He's not had the greatest season, and I think I hate to say it, but I guess I have to. I think he's going to prevail in this match. I'm going to go Ben, even though I don't want him to. But I'm trying to catch up to Boggs, so I think I can't bear it with my heart all the time.
See, I got nothing to lose.
Don't look at me. I've been
yeah,
awful the last few weeks. Yeah.
Hey, that just means that Mike, John, and I will be 1 point closer to you and Sean. So
maybe we'll see.
I'm just gonna be one away from Sean next week, so it'll be fun.
We'll see, or you might be further behind. We'll find out sooner.
So there's only 3 matches next week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Logan Burton, boo Sean in the chat.
Really, Logan? Are you booing on the other Sean? I see. You shouldn't boo any Sean. Don't boo any Sean.
He's going Wingblade because his last name is Wingblade. That's not Arsenal like Ross has.
Yeah.
Lots of made up names here.
Yeah, don't boo any Sean. Sean's are great.
Oh, goodness gracious. We love a good Sean over here, folks. But we also love all 5 of the wonderful people up here on this screen. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Ultimate Schmoedown After Show. Thank you so much to those of you who sent in some Streamlabs. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much to all of the patrons who hopped into this match in one way or another. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much to everybody who's been commenting along. We've been shouting them out all episode. And don't forget, if you leave a comment underneath this episode when it's no longer live, we'll also shout you out then next week. It's a whole continuous cycle of just showing you guys love for letting us do this show because we really enjoy doing it. Now it's time for plugs. Going around the horn, starting with our dear producer, Sean. What do you have to plug?
Follow me on Twitter, even though I really don't tweet anything. Just my name, Sean Barreto, and check me out on Pop Culture Universe with Soul and Boggs, doing trailer reviews and movie reviews and what if reviews. Looking forward to seeing No Time to Die coming up next month. I already got my ticket.
There you go. Mike, what about you?
Follow me Twitter and Instagram at Mr. Mike Shea. Check out my podcast, The Basement Lounge, every Thursday. And rest in peace, Norm Macdonald.
Yeah,
sure.
Fair point.
Sure, fair point. Boggs, what about you?
Yes, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for Streamlabs, Super Chat, I think Drunken Prayer, Nancy. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for the guests. Thanks for the patrons coming in. You guys are really great. We've got another fun show next week, so that one should be cool. Yeah, check us out, Pop Culture Universe. Like Sean saying, trailer reactions, reviews. I think we done What If, West Side Story reaction we done, so that was cool. But yeah, lots to come. So see you all next week.
There you go. And Soul, what about you?
Well, Sean and Boggs already plugged Pop Culture Universe. I'm going to plug John Roca's Patreon. Tonight we have a match, the Battle of England. So if you want to watch that and watch Boggs play in the Battle of England, become a Patreon and you can join in tonight and watch Boggs either win or lose. We'll see.
Boggs, do you think you're going to win or lose?
I don't know.
So Boggs, you know what you have to say now, right?
Yeah, I'm going to whoop these fools. Whatever.
No. You have to say England. Come on.
Oh, yes. No. I'm not too confident.
4 words into that promo.
Not too confident, but, you know, we'll see. Got to represent, you know.
Of course. As for me, Sean just put it in the chat there. Follow me on Twitter at John Bar Tweets. Follow me on Instagram at John Bar Tweets. It's the same. TikTok at John_Bar. I got too many social medias. I'll be honest with you, gang. So just pick the one you like the most to follow, and don't worry about the other ones. But that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being a patron of us, and we will see you all next week with another great roundup of matches. Have a good Saturday.
Too many producers on.